just an awesome little machine. Well, hello and welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we are out on the KTM Duke 390 courtesy of JD Racing in Saltash. And I've got to say, I've been riding it for probably about a mile, only a few minutes, and this is a fun little bike, comparable I guess to the BMW 310R that we took out, and that video's up there, check it out. But this comes in at 149 kilos. 149 kilos. So as you can imagine, the versatility of the bike is amazing. It's got about 44 brake horsepower and about 37 newton meters of torque, and just over a 13 litre tank. And if you've ever ridden one of these bikes, you'll know that filling up the tank, you're going to be able to go for miles and miles and miles in them. Now the seating position, I feel planted in this bike. Absolutely planted in this bike. I don't feel overstretched to reach the handlebars. The handlebars are a good width. I feel that the seat is comfy, it's holding me in really nicely. I do feel a little bit crunched up, but that's just getting used to a difference in bike. And this being a single cylinder, now we're in a national speed limit, I mean, that is just immense. For a little bike, it's got such a lot of punch. Such a lot of punch indeed. There's obviously a lot of wind coming at you because there's not an awful lot of wind protection, but this is a bike, I'm amazed at where we've come from with bikes these days. You know, if this was a bike that a young person would be able to ride, I mean anybody can ride this, but if this was a bike that a young person was looking to have, perhaps to commute to and from university, college, or even to work, didn't want something massive, didn't want something hugely expensive, but or still wanted the fun, then this has got to be in one of your choices. You certainly got to look at it. You know, it's got no problem with being at 55, 60. I don't feel that I've got any vibrations coming through the bike, but this bike gives me the feel that I'm on a much sportier bike than I really am. It's only a one cylinder, but blimey, it's got some punch. Certainly a lot more punch than I was expecting from a little 390. The gearbox is really smooth, up and down the gearbox. It just clicks into place without any false gear changes. The mirrors are really good, and I must say that on these mirrors I did find that when you move them, they're really easy to move. I'm not sure whether that's meant to be like that, but they're not as stiff as a lot of motorbikes, where it's quite difficult sometimes to be able to change them and move them and put them into the place that suits you as the rider. Now this is the brand new 2017 model, so it's got a bit of a facelift. They've done a bit of change to the bodywork, which makes it look just extra special. I was talking to the guys at JD Racing today, and there's a bike out there for everyone, but the difference I think between KTMs and other manufacturers are that you'll see, like on our recent trip we went to the Pico Mountains, and bike after bike was GS or GS Adventure, bike after bike after bike, and then every now and then you'd get a KTM, and there were a lot of KTMs out there as well. I don't want to deceive people, there were quite a lot of KTMs, but the KTMs were the ones that stood out in the crowd. And I think that's because not only have KTM got the right styling in terms of the colours and the contrasting colours that they use, but they're also using the styling of the framework to really stand out amongst the crowd. And even though this is a little single cylinder bike, it starts up with a TFT display that they fitted that's got all of your information right there. It's really bright, it's nice, you can see everything that you need to see. This one hasn't got different ride modes. I don't know whether that's because it's such a small CC or the market that they're targeting, so it's only got the road mode, and I think it's got a supermoto on there, but ultimately it's just got a road mode. But that TFT display, that's really starting to, KTM are really starting, in my opinion, to put other manufacturers a little bit to shame, or showing that KTM are forward thinking just a little bit more than some of the other manufacturers by fitting bits of kit like a TFT display. It's like a mini iPad showing you different stuff. And like I said on the video for the 1290, which you'll see up there, I think that KTM are going to push the boundaries and drag other manufacturers with them in terms of the equipment that they fit to the bikes. So on some of the other KTMs in their KTM range, they have got Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection as standard into the bike. Now you have to check with your dealer because not all models have got that functionality, but that's quite a groundbreaking thing. It's not something that you're seeing on other manufacturers, and I think it's something that in 2017, where people are guided by the digital age, that the digital age has got to be incorporated in mechanical things such as cars, like they're doing now with a whole host of things, but also bikes. And it's really nice to see that manufacturers are starting to get onto the train and realise that us riders, we're not all people that have analog everything. We've got mobile phones as well, and rather than buying sat navs and all these other bits and bobs that you can fit onto your bike, why not integrate it actually into the bike so that it attracts you to buy that bike that does everything, that you haven't then got to buy extra stuff, rather than buying a bike and then buying a sat nav and buying this and buying that to connect to your phone. So you know that this is a single cylinder engine by the sound of it when it starts up and when you're riding it. But do you know, I would feel really lucky if I was looking for a bike to commute to and from college, uni, to and from work, or just a little plaything, to have one of these bikes. It's so much fun. And there's lots of people out there that will be talking about, wow, you know, it hasn't got huge horsepower. What about all the torque? I need more torque. Do you really? I'm doing 55 here quite comfortably, and I think that I could probably do quite a few miles on this bike. The one thing that I have noticed though is when you brake, the front shocks are very, very spongy. They're very spongy indeed, and that was quite a bit of a ooh moment when I was braking earlier on to come to a stop. It's quite a bouncy front end, but the suspension's really set up quite well. It's not too bumpy, it's not too wallowy, it's just right, and it makes me feel connected to the bike while I'm riding it, and it certainly makes me feel as though this bike is a lot more than just a 390cc. But the switchgear is really good on this bike. All the switches are labelled so you know exactly what they're doing. They're really responsive. They give you some good taptic feedback when you press them, or some good feedback so you know that you've pressed them. The indicator stalk is really big, so there's no denying that you've actually used it, and no fishing around with your thumb to find it. And that's about all you get. There's no heated grips on this one, although I think you can get heated grips for this bike, but it will be an extra. But what a great little bike. And even though it's a one cylinder, the thing that I have noticed is you've got quite a lot of engine braking, so just rolling off the throttle, it's just slowing me down. So I don't see much of an issue with overrun, especially going into corners and that sort of thing. It seems quite responsive to just reduce your speed and have a bit of engine braking, which is really good. Look at that TFT screen there, look. I wonder one day whether they'll make them touch screens so you can change things rather than having to go through buttons. So the KTM 390 Duke, another amazing bike from KTM. It does everything that you really wanted to do, and for a one-cylinder bike it's really got some punch in it. It's got about 35 brake horsepower. The torque and stuff we'll put in a card somewhere. It's got a 13.5 litre tank, and this is 149 kilos, which is half a kilo heavier than the 690 Duke. How do they do that? How do they make these bikes so light? But one thing that it does mean with the lightness of the bike is it's so nimble and agile, it feels like you're running along with it, expending no effort because the bike's doing it for you. I just love the bike. I think it's such a little fun thing, and it's kind of in comparison to the BMW 310R that we did, and I'll put a link somewhere up there for it. I think they're very comparable. The difference between the two, I think, is KTM yet again have done it with their colour scheme. So this bike is a white, orange and black bike. It really stands out, and it curtails to the KTM's vision, I think, of it not just being another bike, but this is a bike that people can be proud to ride on. Even their 125s look like this. These look like the bigger bikes. Just so impressed by the stuff and the thinking that KTM put into their bikes. And I'm not saying that other manufacturers don't, but to me, the KTM make these bikes stand out amongst the rest. So you know it's a KTM. These little bikes and the smaller bikes are being used all around the country, and we know that in Plymouth there is a bike training company to take you through CBT and stuff that have gone all over to KTMs just because they're so nimble, so they're so good at what they do. So this bike is fitted with some gadgets, and we'll start off with the first one. And the first gadget is this amazing screen. Now, the only thing that I kind of don't understand about KTM fitting the screen to this one is they don't fit this screen to the 690, which is kind of strange that they fitted a big screen to a smaller bike and to a small screen to a bigger bike. However, it's great at telling you exactly what's going on. It tells you that the side stands down. How many bikes actually do that? It's got your trip, your consumption, and look at that, 63.2 miles to the gallon, and with that 13.4 litre tank you're going to get loads and loads of miles out of that. It's got how long you've been on your trip time, how many miles, the time, a big rev counter and a big indicator telling you what speed you've done, all your fuel and your temperature, and really important for lots of people is what gear are you in. Now, you can't do an awful lot with this bike. There aren't different modes on this bike. There's just one mode, which is the road mode. But yet again, KTM have fitted their, I would say, almost world-class instruments and buttons to the bike, and when you press them you get funky stuff on this screen. Now this screen, I would say, is a baby screen from the 1290s of the 2017 range. Less functionality, but you can go up and down and change your preferences and your settings and get info on your bike. It's just awesome on a bike at around about £4,000 in the UK, which some will say is expensive, but in the scheme of things it's not hugely expensive to a lot of people. You get something to play with, and I'm wondering whether one day we'll have the ability to have touchscreen, because that seems to be the way it's going. I don't know whether they can do a touchscreen that's waterproof. I don't know what the technicalities of that are, but that would be really great to see at some stage. This 390 has got fitted some awesome lights on the front. They're all LED lights, but these are the lights on this range that are fitted to the larger of the range of the bikes as well. So you've got like a halo effect around here, which is again unique to KTM. You know that if you see one of these and you know anything about bikes, it's probably a KTM, and it's quite a nice light that it shines out. Now the headlight is really bright, all LEDs, LED indicators as well, both sides, and the brake lights and the indicators on the back. So they've put quite a lot of tech and stuff into really quite a cheap bike for what you're getting. So great wheels from KTM, as with all of their range, but a tiny bugbear for me, same on my BMW GS Adventure, and this isn't so bad, but a lot of the valves that are on the wheels are coming right out of the middle. I really wish that the manufacturers would do something about that and as standard fit the angled valves on there, so you haven't got to fight with the bike, especially those people with spokes on their wheels. They're going to understand where I'm coming from. It's good to be able to fill it up really easily without getting really dirty if you've been off-road or wherever, just to make it easy really. But again, KTM with their styling, this is stiffer plastic than the 690 that we did on another video, but it's great colours and they've kept with the scheme, and it's protecting this radiator, which is great. You don't want anything going through your radiator. And again, it's a one-cylinder engine, so with the one-cylinder engine they've got loads of space to put loads of gadgets, so hence you've got all of your tech in here and hidden under the seat, which is great. And some people might not be a fan of this can, but I actually think the can looks really good. It fits with the bike. It doesn't display to somebody who doesn't know much about bikes that this is an underpowered bike. The only thing on it that I would say that shows that it's a 390 is the letters 390. But other than that, great little bike. There's loads of space here, so you know, if you are using it as a commuter bike, you might want to put a fender extender or a mud catcher or crud catcher, whatever they call them, into here. But that's one for the rider. The one thing that I'm not sure that I really like the aesthetics of is this huge, I guess, frame to hold the number plate. It's a shame that the number plate wasn't kind of up here, and I guess they've done it for a reason, to try and stop mud going all over the rider. But it just looks like it's an add-on into an empty space that needs nothing put there. So, kind of weird for me. So the seat on this bike, I find extremely comfortable. There isn't much play in it, but there's enough play in it. It's firm enough to hold you in place. And it is a two-piece seat. They do come off. And I like this bit here. It fits into the coccyx of my back, or right in the small of my back, so that I know that I'm being held in place. And I like the fact, I know that the bike is really, really thin, but my thighs hang over really well. So I guess that riding this for quite some time, I'm not going to get sore thighs like I do sometimes on my adventure. But the seat is really, really comfortable, and I love the fact that it's a two-piece. And I really like, talking about the seat, that they've left the frame here, because that gives a bit more styling. It just, rather than covering it in plastic, a white frame, just perfect. The one thing that I like over the 690 on this bike is that the side stand is really easy to find, and I'm not finding that the peg gets in my way like the 690. I found the 690 quite cumbersome to put the side stand down, and this side stand seems longer. It's angled. On the 690 it's a straight bar, and this one gives me a bit more confidence. It's actually going to hold the bike wherever I put it, whereas on the other bike it felt like I was going to put it down and the bike was going to topple over. So all in all, I really love this bike. As you can probably tell, I'm beaming from ear to ear. I didn't think that I would enjoy riding this bike as much as I have done. It's comparable to the BMW 310R that we rode in a previous video. You've got the link up there. And I'm not sure which is more fun, but I am sure which one looks better, and that goes to the KTM for me. I'm a BMW person through and through, but I try not to be biased with the videos and the reviews that I do. But I've got to be biased towards KTM for the styling. That wins me over every time. The functionality and the gadgets they put in here just make it just a kind of a world-class bike in this class. I like the fact that they've put lights on there. They're LED. You haven't got to worry about them going wrong, and if you do, yes, you replace them, but they're not like bulbs, so you haven't got to worry. Like the bike an awful lot, as you can probably tell, and I could talk all day about it. But if you've enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up. It really does help us. If you've got a 390, either the 2016 or if you're thinking of buying the 2017, give us some comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, which will be down there somewhere. Click that little bell so you're alerted when we publish our new videos and they come up in your feed. And before we go, a massive shout out to Rich, Tracy and the team up at KTM, JD Racing in Saltash. They are amazing people. They're really great friends of ours, and they let us take these bikes out so that we can ride them. and review them and just bring you an honest opinion. I'm not an expert on mechanics on a motorbike. I just know what I like and know what I don't like. And this one is one that I like. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.